What do you think? Okay, so if you follow me on Twitter, you know that I got my Silver Play Button award from YouTube. It says the Frugal Filmmaker, presented to the Frugal Filmmaker for passing 100,000 subscribers. And I tweeted that it only took me 10 years to get this, which wasn't completely true because before I went dark for 3 years, I actually did have 100,000 subscribers. But I was kind of sad, maybe a little too much so, that YouTube never contacted me to say, hey, you're eligible for your Silver Play Button award. And I found out later when I got back into YouTube that you really need to be kind of proactive, and if you don't automatically get a code, that you have to contact the YouTube creative team, which I actually tried to do that via email, but it didn't work because I didn't hear anything. I think I tried 3 different times. But I finally watched another YouTube video that said, hey, you go to this chat and you talk to some creative counselor person, and you tell them what's going on and you will get a code. And I did that. They reviewed my channel in like 5 minutes and they said I was eligible for an award. And I got an award, and here it is. Came in the mail today. This is kind of cool. I mean, like I said, it's probably 3 years overdue, but that's okay. I think it's still nice to have one of these, and I'm grateful for all of you out there that subscribe to my channel that allowed me to get this. Even though that comes to one of the ironies of getting a 100,000 subscriber award when you're only getting like 2,000 or 3,000 views per video. Granted, I've been gone for a while, so I'm a little presumptuous to think I'm going to get more than that. But it's an interesting disparity I found even before I left for a while, was that you've got over 100,000 subscribers, but your videos are only getting an initial 2,000 to 3,000 views when you initially release it, and then over time, if you do your SEO correctly, or you do your keywords or title correctly or thumbnail correctly, then it becomes really searchable, and then the video over time gets a decent amount of views until I guess it becomes uninteresting. But I'm still very grateful for everybody that continues to watch this channel even after all this time. It was probably my fault that those numbers dropped so badly because I wasn't telling people to make sure that your notifications are turned on. Some people obviously have them turned on and they'll watch my videos, whatever I release, which is very flattering. I notice that every time I release a video, even if it's something that maybe people aren't really interested in, like my recent screenwriting with the AlphaSmart Neo video, that initially it only got about 1,300 views, which I tend to believe that there's probably around 1,000 people that are getting notifications that are kind of the true hardcore fans, and they'll watch whatever I present. They're the ones that watched all the Q&A shows in the past, which no one really seemed to be that interested in other than people that were really interested in the channel and what I had to present. So I'm grateful for that. And without you guys, I would never have this awesome award, which now I need to figure out where am I going to put this so that I could show it off every time I make a video. Something like that. I don't know. It's kind of reflective. It doesn't really, oh, there we go. That might work. I put it against the wall. But yeah, it's super shiny. Okay, so that kind of brings me to the next thing I want to talk about, which is what do you guys want to see in this channel? Because after coming back for 3 years, it gave me a lot of time to kind of think about, if I was going to come back and why I would come back and what I would want to do with the channel when and if I did come back. And now I am back, at least for now, I guess. But I looked at a lot of my old videos, and the ones, of course, this is always really super inspiring, is that the videos that got the most views were the ones that are 8, 9, 10 years old. I do have one video that's been seen over 1 million times, but it was never viral. It was the PVC stabilizer video, which has been around for a long time, probably one of my most early videos, and it's done really well. I didn't get all those views in a month or a year. I mean, it took 7, 8 years. But as I looked over these older videos, I noticed that a lot of them were DIY videos. All that PVC stuff, the most popular stuff, with the exception of maybe the Vegas freeze frame video, is all based around building custom camera rigs, and they're all DIY. A lot of people would call me MacGyver in a lot of the comments, and so I started to think that, hey, maybe this is what I should be focusing on, is DIY content. That seems to be what people really like. There are a lot of YouTube channels out there that zero in on DIY stuff and do really well. DIY Perks is one of them. So I sort of got this mentality of, what would MacGyver do? Because if MacGyver would want to watch this video, then maybe it would be more popular, maybe it would do well. Not that I mind doing kind of off-topic stuff, and you'll still see me do that once in a while because, hey, it's my channel, I can do something fun and interesting if I want. I'd like to get into prop building. I would like to do that sort of thing. I've noticed things about actual film production, at least people watching my channel, as far as that series that I did a while ago before I stopped making videos, where I was kind of going through the steps of making a Frugal short film. Didn't get a lot of interest. Writing videos specifically, when I talk about screenwriting, people don't seem that interested. Maybe it's because they come to this channel because they want more DIY stuff and that's what they're most interested in. So that's what I kind of felt like I should be focusing on, is DIY content. So if you'll notice the last like 3 of the 4 videos that I presented after I came back in this past month, the month of May, those were all kind of hardcore DIY videos, stuff you could make, and less on theory, less on writing. Because I did have one video about writing, and even though it was sort of a DIY / writing video, and it did the worst. And I'm not sure if that's because of the subject matter, which I think it is a little bit, as well as the length. It was the longest video that I put out when I came back. And I think that some people, kind of myself included, don't necessarily like to see videos that are past the 10-minute threshold. I know that videos that are that long or longer will get you more ad revenue, because if you don't already know this, if you make a video longer than 10 minutes, YouTube will allow you to insert ads inside the middle of the video somewhere, wherever you choose. And so that means you can generate more ad revenue. I have done this in the past. I actually went back to some of my old videos and added some commercials in the middle. I don't add more than one commercial in the middle because I think that'll drive people away. But in an effort to kind of keep the channel kind of self-sustaining, I don't mind adding a commercial in there now and then. But this last video that I made that was longer, I did put a commercial in there. I did make it longer. I didn't pad the video to run past 10 minutes. I always try and make videos that are exactly the length that they need to be, which I think is a good philosophy. And I really like to have shorter videos anyway. I think that more people will hang around, and my runtime, or my minutes watched, seems to be a longer percentage, or bigger percentage, the shorter the video is. Now the trade-off is, of course, if you have a longer video and your watch time is shorter, but it might be longer than if you had a shorter video, if that makes sense, then maybe I should be making longer videos. But I think the shorter videos get watched more, not just because they're shorter, but because maybe that's the length that people want to see. I guess it would be if they are shorter. One thing I don't like to see, especially in the latest wave of YouTube content, with that ad thing, I really get upset when I'm watching a video and it just feels like people are padding their running length just so they can get that extra revenue, and that just turns me off and makes me not want to come back. I don't want to be like that. I want people to come to this channel and have a sincere interest in what I'm going to do, and hopefully it's something that they can use. I always try and do videos, number one, that are things that people can make themselves. I don't like doing anything that's really that complex. I was really resistant, even though it's one of my most popular videos, when people asked me to make a DIY camera crane. I really didn't want to do that because I knew it was going to be complicated, and it was the most complicated thing that I ever did. But people really liked that video. That's probably my second most popular video. Unfortunately, it's my only demonetized video because I used copyrighted music way back when. And it was still a good video, and I still, apparently lots of people still reference that video or use it. But it's a valuable lesson not to use copyrighted stuff, because you might not be able to earn any money from that, even if it's a video everybody watches. And so at this point, one thing I'd like to do is just kind of reach out to you, the viewer, and please comment below and tell me what you'd like to see on this channel. Tell me some things you like, tell me some things you didn't like. There's also, the issue of monetization or income streams for this type of thing, because it is nice to have it become self-sustaining and not just through AdSense or views. And in the past, I've done affiliate links, and I continue to do that. If you see me refer to eBay or Amazon in the description below, it's an affiliate link, and if you buy anything through that, I get a percentage, and that's super helpful. And all of that is basically passive. These 3 ways of earning money on YouTube are passive, meaning that you really don't have to do anything. You watch the video, I earn a little money. You go through a link, I earn a little money. Don't really have to do too much. You don't have to give me anything. All you have to do is kind of go about your normal life and do something you were going to do anyway. You just happen to go through a certain hoop. Most people, I don't think, mind supporting that way. Then there's the more active way of supporting, which is something like Patreon, where you actually have a separate website that you go to, and you can have different tier levels of support. It could be $1, $5, $10 a month, something like that. That's something I've kind of resisted because you're more actively asking for money, and you're also demanding more of yourself, because now you have to provide some kind of extra content for your Patreon supporters. It's something that I necessarily want to do because that just means more work and less return, maybe, or maybe there is a greater return, because a lot of the times it seems like if you've also done YouTube videos, you might think, well, I'm investing all this time and money, and even though some people are watching it or I'm getting some views, I'm not making enough money back to really justify the cost of making the video anyway. Unless you're like the top 1% of people who are just, hemorrhaging money in their direction because they get so many views. It's not the case with most of us, I think. And so Patreon, I don't know. I've asked about it in the past, and if I were to do it, what is something you'd expect to see as far as, members only content. That's also a place I could move the Q&A content to, because it was never really that popular anyway. That was usually my lowest watch stuff. But some people like it, and if it's the core 1,000 people that would be willing to support me if I moved that type of stuff over to Patreon or just did it over there. But I don't know. That's why I'm curious about what you think. I really would appreciate anybody watching this video now to comment below. And what do you think of the channel? What do you think would make it better? What do you think is a good means of supporting the channel, whether it's passive to you, whether you're going through a link or just watching the video, or going to an active service like Patreon where you're actually paying money. So I'd really enjoy some feedback from you if you could share that. I think I've learned a lot over the past 3 years when I've just kind of been passively observing. Watched a lot of other videos from various creators. It's funny how people have YouTube channels that are all about running a YouTube channel. Anyway, I really appreciate everyone's support. I appreciate all of your comments, whether it's through email or comments below or any of my videos. All the people that have said welcome back, I'm very appreciative of. If you can tell me things you would like to see that I haven't been doing, that you wish I was doing, just tell me below. Keep me informed so I can figure out how to do this better. I appreciate it. Thank you.